Hello YouTube fans, here again. And a video why not about a do, as I'm talking about video nasties, why not this one? Now, I remember doing the long club films, it was like martial arts, samurai swords, fucking ninjas, samurai warriors, and so on. There's in the early 70s, there was these what they call long club films, where this little boy and this big fella who was the father, and he'd move his son around in a wheelbarrow. On his, things, he moved his boy around in a wheelbarrow, sightseeing and dicing fucking ninjas. And it was popular in the early 70s. And as this went on, they sort of died out. And it was only into 1980 they had two of these long tub films, but sadly was never aired. For some reason, people just forgot about them. And what they did was, they spiced two of these long tub movies, that were never aired, into one movie. But the film was notorious, and it was named Shogun Assassin. And it was notorious. What I mean by notorious, it was bloodthirsty. And all these long tub movies did have gory and bloodthirsty and rape and violence in them all. But out of them all, this one was the most bloodiest, the most goriest, and so on. And during 1980 and the theatrical release, it later got banned. But as you know, I'm talking about the video nasties. During 1982 to 1983, this became a video nasty. And I remember rightly, in 1983, it was taken off the shelf, and it was a video nasty. That being Shogun Assassin. I remember reviewing this one before, and I like this one. What can I say? Slice me and dice me with a sword. I like this one. It's the old stew sort of samurai warrior film, and it doesn't make out with something else. And the real only reason that was taken off the shelf at the time, censorship, and it was bringing the 18 and the 15 out, was strong on anything with weapons. Think about it. Think about it. The days of Bruce Lee, when there was on VHS in the later days, the famous nunchuckers that Bruce Lee used, with most of them cut out. And it wasn't just Bruce Lee films. A lot of films had nunchuckers and other weapons were cut out. It was only in the later days we had the looks of you seeing them. So this was more or less a video nasty because it had weapons in it. Whatever. So it starts off, it's based on the olden times, going a story. The father finds his wife has been butchered, he's got his baby, he's fallen the sheep revenge, and he's walking the toss. These ninjas are trying to attack him. He slices one in the head, blood comes straight out. And I love the way the blood in this, it's so over the top, really over the top blood, which definitely influenced the movie Kill Bill. Everyone remembers Kill Bill? With heads are getting cut off and eyeballs getting pulled out and over the top blood. This was the film that influenced it, because you got a bit, like I say, the sword comes in, the guy says, "You'll get my revenge," and then blood comes gushing out, and then the words fly straight out at you. Shogun Assassin, all in blood, and I love it. For a video nasty, this isn't really a bad one. You know what I mean? If you're into, like I say, old stew, samurai warriors, fucking ninjas, and all that, and over the top blood, it's a good hour of your time. And I love the way in the monologue you've got the little lad telling the story. It's in the long club films during 72 to 73 and 74. That's never been done, but I do like the fact that the lad is telling the story of his father and his mission. So the first sort of story is him on the run, and he used to be an assassin for his shogun. And what happened was he turned on him. So he's no longer the assassin, but he's sort of like a mercenary assassin. And these people look for him, and they asked him to go on a mission. Now all the way you got people trying to go at him. You've got this female woman, and she's laughing because she sent this ninja out to try and attack his women, and they literally just fucking massacre this guy. They cut his fucking ear off, they cut his nose off. They definitely don't fuck about. This movie definitely doesn't fuck about on the blood and door. So the woman's laughing hysterical, like, I don't know fucking what, because they can massacre this fucking guy, no fucking about. But Sultan doesn't bother Sultan. He just fucking massacres these women like it's fuck all. Don't give a shit with the women. Anyone gets in his way, they'll get sliced and dice. So I love him. Proper father figure. Proper father day of the day when you think about it. Because there's a bit in it where he's having fast bats. It's like a lot in this film. And there's a bit where he's testing his boy and he says, if you touch the ball, you join your mum. If you touch the sword, you join me. So imagine that, he's just a fucking kid. At the time, he's a toddler. Toddlers think, oh, it's a pretty little ball. What if he touched that ball? Does that mean he kills his fucking son? I know, I'm going too into it, and in that area, this is how the samurai warrior would have acted like, you know what I mean? They call it honour, and honour of death, and all this, you know, they do raki-taki, if they fail, they cut the finger off, you know, but he touched the sword, he stabbed him, and he says, your mother will be proud. So he's definitely far from up to there. He takes his son around, slicing and dicing fucking ninjas. There's a bit in it where he gets wounded, and looking up, he pulls up, but the lad gets abducted. They've got him in a wheelbarrow, and they're trying to top him in water, but he manages to save his lad. He slices his guy's face in half, cuts his head, kills him, but he leaves the woman alone. And I love the bit where the lad says, I think it was because she reminded him of somebody. This is the idea, it meant his wife. Then you get the other half of the story, you get these three samurai warriors. I always wonder, right? I always wonder whether, if I can remember his fucking name, John Carpenter. John Carpenter, I can forget. If you ever remember the movie Big Trouble in Little China? Big Trouble in Little China. That film. There's a scene where you got thunderstorm, lightning, and wind, and it's like samurai warriors, and you know they're attacking Russell and all that. I was wondering whether John Carpenter saw this film because it's funny, right? They call them the Masters of Death. But if you see the Masters of Death and then you go and watch Big Trouble in Little Chinatown, you kind of told me that John Carpenter did not see this fucking film because there's so much like them. So there's a bit where they're in a ship, and this is a really vicious scene. They attack these people, and this bit where they stamp the eyeballs out. I do admit that is like traffic. The slicing and dicing and killing people on the way. And they're trying to save this one guy who's supposed to be one of the, I think, one of the relatives of the Long Tub. I think his name is Long, no, not Long Tub. He was the one who's the master of it all, the one who's Long Wolf. I think his name is Long Wolf. Could be right, could be wrong on that. And I know in this one it's a different actor than the one that was in the earlier ones. But they're firm enemies now. There's bits all the way through it where he's sending his sons to attack Sultan, which I think is funny because in the early films he killed all his sons. So where the fuck did these come from? But I went with it. So there's a bit, like I said, they realise that he's so done, they're threatening him, they say, we won't harm you, but if you go and try and attack us, we'll kill you. But we will meet you if you go and meet us in the desert. This time it will be for cheap. So they sort of leave him, but they give him a friendly warning, don't fuck with us. He jumps in the water, he meets that woman who he let lift before. Now this is the bit where I thought that. I actually thought there was going to be a rape scene here, but I thought, no, Sultan isn't that sort of rape. And he isn't. He just covers her, he body warms her because she's all wet and cold, you know, body warm, and saves her life. So I get it. But he does leave her, and you get the monologue from the lad again, and you've got the idea that this woman is going to do akitake, meaning suicide, because she disgraced her master. I love the bit where they're in the desert, which again was done in a lot of the Long Tub films, and this was a part of the film what originally was joined to death of. And again, a bit of vicious scene in it. Someone gets scalped in the head, a lot of blood, a lot of door, over the top blood as well. But I do love the bit where the meat's so done. He's got his epic sword fight, he slices his guy's head in half, and the head opens up. It's hard to explain, but I can't show it. Copyright, but it's story. But the head gets cut in half there, right? and it spits open and you got blood just gushing out like the Amazon fucking waterfall. Oh, it's fucking beautiful. I love it. And he's slicing the other warrior. I love the bit he falls in that sword and his ducks and he says, "How could you throw your sword?" He falls down dead and he kills the last one. He slices out his jugular there, and blood just rushes out of his neck. You get a bit of his monologue saying that he'd wish he'd do that himself, and then he falls down brown bed. Then he meets the relative of the one who was his master, and he says, "You can't do this. I'm the servant of the master." He doesn't mean anything to me. Boom, slices him, kills him, and then he walks off with his son, get a bit more monologues, and then you get this date music, and this music is played for a little bit in the middle when he's having a sword fight and at the end, and I fucking love this music. It's hard to explain. I do remember it's used in the trailer and all, and it goes do 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 do. Do, 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 do. I can't do it. I cannot do it justice. I wish I could play it, but you know, copyright and all this, even paying a bit of fucking music to Shogun Assassin is a fucking sword through the neck. But like I say, it became a video nasty. It was one of them that was taken off the shelf. And I do remember in the early 90s, it was ethically cut. A lot of the door, a lot of the weapons, some of the story bits I mentioned was Tim Town. It was only in the early 2000 they bought it out on DVD in its original sat than how it was when it first come out on video. And I'll show it you. Why not? Why not? Bear with me. And here it is. My favourite film. Shogun Assassin. I always loved the artwork in this. And one thing I do respect about having stunned uncut version is this is actually the original artwork what was used on the golden days of VHS. And yeah, we've got it there, banned in 1983. The widescreen format is a load of shit. And I'll say that's a load of shit, and I've got a better version of this now on my hard drive. Because the widescreen is this big fucking dock of box like that, where you can barely see the fucking film. It's like that, and it just looks fucking deoxygenated. It's hard to explain, but the picture just looks fucking shit. The one I've got now isn't its original widescreen format. It's not pest to death in Panavision and all this shit. It's got beautiful sound and so on. But I did forgot this still because I do love the artwork in it. I love the bit was in the real bio with the fucking wooden spikes. I love that. Proper Father of the Day. Look at them swords. That is proper badass, that. So I love Shogun Assassin. Yeah, it was a video nasty in its day. Yes, it was banned since 1983. Took off the fucking video store by the local Bob. But I still love it. So fuck it. Slice and dice me with a sword. A 5-star rating for me. But into them, be smart, be safe. See you later.